Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel. Although I should probably stop saying that because the majority of my viewers, in fact almost all of them, are men. So brothers, welcome to the channel. I'm out here today at Take Aim Training Range. Today I'm talking about SPRs. Are they still relevant? What is an SPR? Why is it so hot? Why do you shoot low and to the left? Maybe it's the gun, you should buy a new one. SPRs have been around a long time. It is not a new concept or a new design. With LPVOs becoming so prevalent and so good that they fit the role of a SPR or even a GPR, is there really much of a need at all for an SPR anymore? SPRs typically come in some type of combination of longer barrel, like an 18-inch, 20-inch barrel, and some type of magnified optic, traditionally. A 20 to 18-inch barrel is getting in the ideal range for velocities of 5.56 at various distances with various ammunition. 55 grainers become a lot more effective out of a longer barrel. You can push 77 grainers a little further, and it shoots a little bit more flat too, as a part of having more velocity on those rounds, those bullets. SPRs have been around a long time and used in military circles in the GWAT and probably before that. It is a type of weapon to slightly fulfill the role of a DMR while sharing common ammunition amongst each other. So if they had to, they could then grab a magazine from somebody else if they ran out of their particular likely match grade ammo. This particular configuration of an SPR that I have right here is topped with a thermal optic, which is an absolute game changer. And that is the major use case for me personally of an SPR, is something like this. Little Mr. Guns and Gear going over my particular SPR setup. This is just a old Ruger MPR, ironically enough, that I have set up with a thermal. It's an AGM Rattler, nothing crazy. A really interesting barrel profile that I like, very thick up here towards the chamber, and then it kind of thins out here. It's balanced very well. It's an accurate barrel, rifle length gas system that makes for a very soft shooter, allowing you to make repeated shots on target and follow-up shots very quickly. And you can just burn targets down. This thing is so much fun in that respect. Got a radial comp that is super obnoxious. I should probably change this out. It's effective as a compensator, but it's brutal. It's really brutal to be around. And I have just M-bus iron sights, offset iron sights that do their job. You could mount a red dot, like an offset red dot. And in fact, I may do that, but for my purposes and my uses of this rifle, it's fine. It's just to have something so that I can look outside of the scope. When it's been bumped up in magnification, I can look outside of it, and I have an aiming system to shoot things that are closer. So this is a genuine setup of mine that I use. I didn't set this up for this video. This is literally how I have it for my purposes and its role for me as an SPR. With the main focus being the thermal optic that is on top. With thermal becoming so common and becoming relatively affordable, this one in particular is not a very high-end model or anything. This is an AGM Rattler. This is my thermal setup for a rifle. Whether you're using it at night, you can use it during the day if you need to. I've been shooting with it all day out here. So let's talk about the role and the uses that I have, or people in general would have for an SPR. For me, my use cases are somewhat limited, as you can see. A lot of where I live is woods. This range had to be cleared out. To build a range, they had to clear the timber to make a lane. So for me personally, I prefer a GPR, and that is a video for another day. We'll go over GPRs and their various concepts and uses and types and builds and things like that in the future. So for me, an SPR has its purpose, and what I use this for is like coyote hunting or hog hunting in areas that are much more open, where I can actually stretch the legs, so to speak, or if I need to, I can stretch the legs of this barrel. SPRs in general will do pretty much anything you can ask of them, similar to most other barrel lengths, like 16-inch, 14.5s, and things like that. You can maneuver these things if you have to. They are a little unwieldy though due to that additional barrel length. So the main use case for me with an SPR is somewhere where I have a further line of sight than I would just say right here or something like that, which, you know, there are open fields and stuff around, or in instances where if I could plant a tripod and I could put this in it and turn my thermal on and scan a large area for heat signatures, that is a use case for this as well. Another thing that's advantageous about running a thermal, even in thick wooded conditions, it enables you to see not so much past brush, but you can still detect signatures at a tree line, or in some cases through more open areas of brush. So it's actually quite helpful in that case. So are SPRs still relevant? Nowadays, I would say yes, but it really depends on your use case. So yes, there's still a thing. It's still a viable way to go about setting up a rifle or running a rifle. It's very use case dependent. That's why it is a special purpose rifle. With modern scopes and even red dots and magnifiers as they become better, the use case of an SPR is shrinking, at least to me, because I can do most things with a 14.5 or smaller if I need to or wanted to. I can still reach out and hit targets and stuff like that, or I can still maneuver in areas. If I was somewhere with wide open, huge sight lines and things like that, I think the SPR would be more suited to that. It's still usable here, but unnecessary outside of specific use cases. But again, that's part of being an SPR, is a special purpose rifle. This would be what I would consider somewhat of a modernized SPR in its configuration. Thermal is becoming a huge game changer. As you look in conflicts across the globe, thermal is a must-have in your inventory, in my opinion. And you can configure SPRs in obviously different ways. Some people will run an LPVO with a clip-on. That would be one way to accomplish getting thermal imaging or night vision. It just depends on what you want, whatever flavor, whatever direction that you would want to go with them. And I do like them. This thing is a ton of fun to shoot. Is it the first thing I grab? No. But when I go out, I'm trying to go hunt some coyotes or something, this is what I set up and I take with me. It's ideally configured for that, at least for me. So yeah, tell me what you think about SPRs. Are they still, is that relevant? Is that a thing anymore? You tell me.